Alright, hello everybody. Welcome back into the little stream. Alright. We're live here. Oh. Alright. Hello everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Welcome back into the stream. I hope you're having a good day. Today is July the 2nd, 2025. Hey Rashab. Welcome in. Welcome first chat of the day. Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate you for being here. Welcome back into my stream. All right, you guys, feeling good today. Hoping to get some project work in. Yeah, it's 8 p.m. for me right now. It's still pretty light outside. West Coast here in California. The thing about it is it stays light really long in the longest part, the lightest parts of the year, and then the darkest parts of the year in the wintertime it gets dark so early. Like it'll get dark at like 4 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock. July 3rd, you're ahead of me here. Nice, for sure. Where are you from? You from India, Pakistan, Brazil? These are a lot of the common ones that we have for international folks. It's pretty cool. We got a lot of reach here on the channel. I got a lot of international friends. It's awesome. Get a little spice to this white boy. Alright, you can tell the future. No worries. Mr. Tim! Mr. Tim! It's great to have you back here, Mr. Tim. You're here all the time, dude. You're awesome, my guy. It's awesome to have you here, Mr. Tim. Welcome back in. What you been working on, dude? Are you still on the internship? How's school going? What have you been grinding? All right, you guys. Welcome back into my stream today. I hope you're having a wonderful day. You know what it is. You know what we're doing. We're back. Going to be reading a bit of Fluent Python. Yeah, I know you guys. It's not the craziest, most entertaining content of all time. I'm not sitting here playing I'm not playing video games or whatnot, or reading, textbooks about computer programming. But, like I mentioned in the Discord, that we need to go back to our roots and really continue on with our grind and continue on with our learning, because we kind of put our foot off the gas, and maybe we could have done better in our interview had we kept grinding Python real hard. Pause. Got to grind that pole real hard, boys, on that Python pole. Start Twitch. Thank you so much. All right. Shout out, Mr. Tim. I forgot to start the Twitch. He just reminded me. Thank you, Mr. Tim. This summer, I'm grinding at the data science internship, trying to code up my personal website. Oh, nice, Tim. What framework are you going to use? You going to hop into React? Let me throw on a little shirt. Showing a little bit too much chesticle here. My bad, you guys. Let me throw on a little shirt here. Plus, if I get hot, I don't want to. Let's see here. All right. Woo! Oh, my bad, boys. Dang it! Gonna have to restart the thingy here, the connection to the screen cap. It's gonna be all whack. There we go. Should be good now. Okay, cool. I have also started learning from this book today. Oh, nice, Rashab. You started Fluent Python? Have you read Python Crash Course? Have you read Python Crash Course, Rashab? And with school, I'm starting my Beta Science Masters in September. JavaScript and React and Tailwind, of course. Remove that shirt. It doesn't matter until you're running. Rashab. Chill, Rashab. All right, you guys. Thanks so much for being here and hanging out with me. Let's go ahead and get into the content, right? Let me know if the music's too loud, too quiet, if you guys are okay. I'm just going to have it very softly in the background while I read. Kind of helps to just drown out some of that head noise, whatever. Pause. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get a new chapter going. We're jumping into chapter 4 today, boys. Woo! Woo! Chapter 4! Yes, sir. That's what we like to see. Jumping into chapter 4. So let's go here and get chapter 4 notes.md. And then we have, yeah, that's it. Ooh, what's this vibe? Hey, let me turn this up. Gotta rock it right and left here, boys. We stay right in this move. Have you guys seen Hitch when he's like, "This is you right here, Albert. You don't need, Q-tip. You don't need no pizza. They got food there. Just right here, Albert. This is where you stay, right here." That's usually my motto. I kind of just like to groove it. I'm at the club. All right, it's a good little vibe here. Okay, chapter 4. Here we go, boys. Remember that I directly jumped to this book. Should I do Crash Course first? Well, what's your familiarity with Python? This one's pretty tough for like if you're just learning some of the beginnings of Python, but it's definitely doable. You might just have to look up some stuff regarding like some at the beginning, like dunder methods and stuff. As you recommended, I learned classes from the Python Crash Course, but the book doesn't teach about encapsulation or polymorphism. Do you recommend any book for OOPs? Honestly, like Python Crash Course, this is pretty good so far. There's classes and protocols getting into part 3, so I'm sure it's going to get into more heavy stuff. But so far, chapters 1 and 2, it's revealed a ton of like dunder and special methods to, further, build up your classes. I obviously have more to learn myself, so well, hopefully we'll get into some more stuff here. Look, thank you, Beckham. Okay, let's get into chapter 4 here, boys. Chapter 4. Okay. Unicode text versus bytes. Okay. Python 3 introduced a sharp distinction between strings of human text sequences and sequences of raw bytes. Implicit conversion of byte sequences to Unicode text is a thing of the past. This chapter deals with Unicode strings, binary sequences, and encodings used to convert between them. Depending on the kind of work you do with Python, you may think that understanding Unicode is not important. That's unlikely, but anyways, there is no escaping the stir versus byte divide. As a bonus, you'll find that the specialized binary sequence types provide features for that the all-purpose Python 2 stir type did not have. I've never actually used Python 2, so when it makes references to like the past throwback, I don't really get it. In this chapter, we will visit the following topics. Characters, code points, byte representations, yada yada. Okay. What's new in this chapter? Support for Unicode. This is just like what's new from the previous revision. Okay. Here we go. Let's jump on in, boys. Character issues. The concept of a quote-unquote string is simple enough. A string is a sequence of characters. The problem lies in the definition of a character. In 2021, the best definition of character we have is a Unicode character. Accordingly, the items we get out of a Python 3 stir are Unicode characters, just like the items of Unicode object in Python 2, and not the raw bytes we got from a Python 2 stir. The Unicode standard explicitly separates the identity of characters from specific byte representations. When we start Stock Hub front end, probably very, very soon. Probably time like tomorrow, maybe even today potentially, depending on how we're feeling. I think we're gonna build it with, honestly, Tkinter. I think I want to build it, keep it in Python. Just keep building Python projects. When in doubt, Python it out. Okay. The Unicode standard explicitly separates the identity of characters from specific byte representations. The identity of a character, its code point, is a number from 1 to 1.114111 million, right? Base 10, shown in the Unicode standard as 4 to 6 hex digits with a U plus prefix. From U plus straight zeros to U plus 10 FFFF, for example, the code point for the letter A is U plus 0041. The euro sign is U plus 20 AC. And the musical symbol G clef is assigned to the code of U plus Unicode 1D11E. About 13% of the valid code points have characters assigned to them in Unicode 13.00. The standard used in Python 3.10.0b4. The actual bytes that represent a character depend on the encoding in use. An encoding is an algorithm that converts code points to byte sequences and vice versa. The code point for the letter A, or U plus 0041 in Unicode is encoded as a single byte as backslash x41 in the UTF-8 encoding, or as the bytes backslash x41 backslash x00 in UTF-16LE encoding. As another example, UTF-8 requires 3 bytes, backslash xe2, backslash x82, and backslash xac to encode the euro sign of U plus 20 AC. But in the UTF-16LE, the same code point is encoded as 2 bytes. Okay. So I never really understood what this encoding systems were, these UTFs, but now it kind of makes a little bit more sense. So basically, we have to have like a universal kind of key or legend to represent these kind of characters in byte code, right? We have to universally distinguish and agree upon some sequences of bytes to represent these typically used characters like percent signs, ampersands, and whatever. The letter A. Okay, so let me go ahead. I'm going to come here. I'm going to say I'm learning about Unicode characters right now, reading over chapter 4 of Fluent Python, and I just have some questions regarding what Unicode actually is and the UTF-some value encoding systems that are placed on them, period. Are these just universally accepted encodings to represent common characters in byte code across many machines? Like, is it just typically like an agreed upon key or legend to, encode and decode these characters as byte representations, whether it be UTF-8, 16, LE, yada, yada, yada. You're exactly on the right track, and it's great you're digging into this. Unicode and its codings like UTF-8 are fundamental to understanding how modern software handles text. Let's unpack it clearly and intuitively. Unicode is a universal standard for representing text from every language, script, and symbol system. Think of it as a massive dictionary or code chart that assigns each character a unique code point. These code points are just numbers. They don't care how they are stored or transmitted. Unicode equals an agreement on what characters exist and what numbers represent them. What is the UTF of some integer, right? UTF stands for the Unicode Transformation Format. Since computers store and send things as bytes, you need a way to convert Unicode points into a stream of bytes. Each UTF variant is a set of rules for how to encode or decode these code points as bytes. All right, and here's some of these rules. Analogy of Unicode versus UTFs. Unicode, think of it as a global language dictionary. It defines word characters and gives them a unique ID. UTF-8 and UTF-16, these are ways to serialize the dictionary into files, memory, or network packets, like choosing how to write the dictionary into Morse code, Braille, or English letters. Unicode is abstract. Okay, that helped a lot. That was a good breakdown. Hey SN, how's it going? Is Python easy up to now? Well, yeah, I guess, it's easy, I guess, for relative. It's kind of hard to answer that with a single answer. What's kind of like your experience with Python? Thanks for joining me here. Okay, so I'm gonna go Unicode is the abstract standard of characters, a global language dictionary to define word characters and give them a unique ID. So then you have like UTF of some number, called code points. So UTF is the Unicode transformation format. And what this does is it converts Unicode points into a stream of bytes readable by computer. Many different encode/decode formats per systems. Yeah, okay. So converting the code points to byte is, and converting from code points to bytes. So, okay, so encoding is converting, so I'll go code, Unicode, code points to bytes, and decoding is bytes to Unicode code points. Is converting from bytes to code points is decoding. So encoding, you have a string of cafe, the length of 4. You call string.encode in UTF-8, and then you print B, and that gives you a byte with the literal of B in front, prefix. like the 5. So the stir cafe has 4 Unicode characters. Encodes stir to bytes using UTF-8 encoding. Bytes have a literal B prefix. Bytes B have 5 bytes. The code point for the cafe, the E tilde is encoded into 2 bytes in UTF-8. Oh, okay. So that's where the extra byte comes from. Decode bytes to stir using UTF-8 encoding. Okay. Okay. If you need a memory aid to help distinguish between decode and encode, convince yourself that a byte sequence can be cryptic machine code dumps, while Unicode stir objects are human text, therefore making it sense that we decode bytes to get stir, and we encode the stir to bytes to store, right? Yeah, so think about it like a cipher almost, right? So the correct or the decoded cipher is the human text, and the encoded cipher is the bytes, where you can't read it, it's encoded, then you decode it to be able to have a readable string. Although the Python 3 stir is pretty much the Python 2 Unicode type with a new name, the Python 3 byte is not simply the old stir renamed, and there's also closely related byte array type. So it is worth to take a look at the binary sequence types before advancing to encoding/decoding issues. Byte essentials. The new binary sequence types are unlike the Python 2 stir in many okay, so let me go. The new binary sequence types are unlike the Python 2 stir in many regards. The first thing to know is there are 2 basic built-in types for binary sequences. The immutable bytes the first thing to know is there are 2 basic built-in types for binary sequences. The immutable bytes type introduced in Python 3. Okay, so we have the new binary. There are 2 basic built-in binary sequence types. Right, so number 1 is going to be the bytes type. Introduced in Python 3, and the immutable, so this is immutable, and then 2 is the byte array type. Let me grab a drink real quick. dog. Sleepy dog. Got your belly full and sleeping. All right. Sorry, thanks for being patient. I had to grab a little refill on the drink. Got a little cherry coke. What's your guys' drink of choice? What's your guys' go-to drink? Let me know. Okay. Byte array added way back in Python 2.6. The Python documentation sometimes uses the generic term byte string to refer to both bytes and byte array. I avoid that confusing term. Each item in bytes or byte array is an integer from 0. Each item in bytes or byte array is an integer from 0 to 255 and not a one-character string like the Python 2 stir. However, a slice of a binary sequence that always produces a binary sequence of the same type, including slices of length 1. Example, a 5-byte sequence as bytes and as a byte array. So cafe equals to bytes, quote, cafe, encoding UTF-8. And then we get cafe in its byte representation of UTF-8 encoding. We slice off the first byte of cafe, or we index the first byte and we get 99. We go up to the first character and we get the quote unquote C first. Okay, so in number 1, bytes can be built from a stir given an encoding. Each item is an integer in range 256 in line 2. Remind me, 0 to 255, is that just the limitation of a single byte? Slices of a byte are also bytes, even slices of a single byte. There's no literal syntax for byte array. Okay, so then here, cafe byte array, cafe. The already taken bytes. Okay. Then you have cafe array equals to a byte array object of the bytes here. Then you can take the last character up until a slice from the last index and just get the X. The fact that my bytes 0 retrieves an int, but my bytes index slice of up to the first character returns a byte sequence of length 1 is only surprising because we are used to Python stir types where the string at index 0 is equal to a string at index slice up to 1. For all other sequence types in Python, one item is not the same as a slice of 1 length. Although binary sequences are really sequences of integers, their literal notation reflects the fact that ASCII text is often embedded in them. Therefore, 4 different displays are used depending on each byte value. For bytes with decimal codes 32 to 126 from space to tilde, the ASCII characters itself are used. For bytes corresponding to tab, new line, carriage, return, and the backslash, the escape sequence is backslash tab, new line, or R, and the double backslashes are used. If both delimiters, quote and double quote, appear in the byte sequences, the whole sequence is delimited by a, whatever this guy is, apostrophe, and any apostrophe inside are escaped as. For other byte values, a hexadecimal sequence, escape sequence is used. It is the null byte. That's why in example 4.2 you see byte of, that's the byte representation of cafe. The first 3 bytes, B, C, A, F, are the printable ASCII ranges. The last 2 are not. Both bytes and byte array support every stir method except those that do formatting. and those that depend on the Unicode data, including case, fold, is decimal, is identifier, is numeric, is printable, and encode. This means that you can use familiar string methods like ends with, replace, strip, translate, upper, and dozens of other with binary sequences, only using bytes and not stir arguments. In addition, the regular expression function in the regular expression module also would work on binary sequences if the regular expression is compiled from a binary sequence instead of a stir. Since Python 3.5, the modulo operator works with binary sequences again. Binary sequences have a class method that stir doesn't have called from hex, which builds a binary sequence by parsing pairs of hex digits optionally separated by spaces. So you have these and then you build a hex based on them. The other way of building bytes or byte array instance are calling the constructors a string and an encoding keyword argument, an iterable providing values from 0 to 255, an object that implements the buffer protocol, bytes, byte array, memory array, view, array.array, that copies the bytes from the source object to the newly created binary sequence. Until Python 3.5, it was also possible to call bytes or byte array with a single integer to create a binary sequence of that initial size with null bytes. This signature was deprecated in Python 3.5 and removed in Python 3.6. Building a binary sequence from a buffer-like object is a low-level operation that may involve typecasting, initializing bytes from the raw data of an array. So import array. Numbers equals to an array.array of an H type with integers inside of this length 5 array. Octets equals bytes numbers. Octets equals this. So in line 1, in this line, footnote 1, type code H creates an array of short integers of 16 bits. So short integers, right? Octets hold a copy of the bytes that make up numbers. Octets holds a copy of the bytes that make up numbers. There are only 10 bytes that represent the 5 short integers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. I think it's because they have negatives, right? Yeah, maybe not. Creating a bytes or byte array object from any buffer-like source will always copy the bytes. In contrast, memory view objects let you share memory between binary data structures, and as we saw in memory views on page 62. Oops. After this basic exploration of binary sequence types in Python, let's see how they're converted to/from strings. Hey, 2Cast, how's it going, man? Silver dude, the whole point of the channel is just learning. So honestly, there is no too in the weeds. Honestly, if I would have kept going with Python, I probably could have had a better chance at my interview. So more in the weeds, the better. My initial goals for Python was to develop an actual mastery and expertise in Python, and that way I could branch out easier to other fields and other languages even easier. Having like a solid mastery of a single language rather than like the typical surface dusting level across 10 different languages that typical CS majors kind of do. I was kind of fighting the wave here. Okay, so basic encoders and decoders. This is new. The Python distribution bundles more than 100 codecs, encoders/decoders for text to byte conversion. Okay. and vice versa. Each codec name has a name like UTF-8 and often aliases such as UTF-8, UTF-8, or U8. Okay, so we have a thing called a codec. Right, so this is encoders / decoders that come with, what are codecs? It's short for coder decoder. It's a software component. Coder decoder, okay. It's just that short form. Python so UTF dash something typically, which you can use the encoding arguments and functions like open, stir encode, bytes decode, and so on. Shows the same encoding in 3 different byte sequences. The string El Nino encoded with 3 codecs producing very different byte sequences. So we're going to decode El Nino, this string. So for code in, so we have Latin 1, UTF-8, and UTF-16. These are the codecs that we're going to convert and this into bytecode of. So we're going to print the codec form, or the codec that we used. The actual, we're going to encode El Nino using that codec, and then we're going to separate them by tabs. So, right, this prints Latin 1, El Nino looks like this. In UTF-8, it looks like this, and in UTF-16, it looks like this. Again, you got these. My notes are on my GitHub. If you want access to them, I am pushing them live to my GitHub, so you can get access to these notes as I go too. Figure 4.1 demonstrates a variety of codecs generating bytes from characters like the letter A through the G clef musical symbol. Note that the last 3 encodings are variable length, multi-byte variable encodings. Okay. So it just shows you what the various encodings look like for these characters. Okay, so remember, ASCII is only, it doesn't have these guys. It only has A, it looks like. Okay. All of those asterisks in figure 4-1 make it clear that some encodings like ASCII and even multi-byte GB2312, right here we have some ASCIIs in there, asterisks, sorry, cannot represent every Unicode character. The UTF encodings, however, are designed to handle every Unicode character. The encodings shown in figure 4.1 were chosen as a representative sample. Latin 1, aka ISO 8851_1. Okay, so these are different types of common codecs, right? Or encoding, decoding types, right? So important because it's the basis for other encodings such as CP1252 and Unicode itself. Note how the Latin 1 byte values appear in CP1252 bytes and even in some code points. CP1252, a useful Latin 1 superset created by Microsoft, adding useful symbols like curly quotes and the euro. Some Windows apps call it ANSI, but it was never a real ANSI standard. CP431, the original character set of the IBM PC, the box drawing character with box drawing characters, incompatible with Latin 1, which appeared later. GB2312, legacy standard to encode the simplified Chinese ideographs used in mainland China, one of the several widely deployed multi-byte encodings for Asian languages. UTF-8, the most common 8-bit encoding from on the web by far as of July 2021. Usage of statistical character encoding for websites claims that 97% of sites used UTF-8, up to 81.4% when I wrote this paragraph in the first edition of the book in September 2014. And then UTF-16LE, one form of the UTF-16-bit encoding scheme. All UTF-16 encodings support code points beyond the U plus FFFF through escape sequences called surrogate pairs. Hey, Eduardo, welcome back in, dude. You guys are here. Leave a like on the stream if you could. Appreciate all you guys being here. UTF-16 superseded the original 16-bit Unicode 1.0 encodings. UCS2 way back in 1996. UCS2 is still used in many systems despite being deprecated. Is it deprecated or it's not depreciated, it's deprecated. I can't know how you pronounce that word. Since the last century, because it only supports code points up to U plus FFFF. As of 2021, more than 50% of the allocated code points are above that standard, using all of the important emoji, including all of the important emojis. We've got a lot more characters we need. We ran out of space. With this overview of common encodings now complete, we move to handling issues in encoding and decoding operations. What's the dog doing? Hey, Tim. Okay, so we're going to say, we've got one here, let's say Latin 1. We'll say AKA ISO 8859_1. Right, I'm just going to take this. Okay, 2 is CP 1252. So this one was useful and created by Microsoft. Okay. 3. CP437. Take this guy here. The original character set from the IBM PC with box drawing characters. Incompatible with Latin 1, which appeared later. 4 is going to be GB2312. Legacy. This one's the legacy standard for Asian languages. Okay. 5. UTF-8. Take that first part. 6 UTF-16LE. One form of the UTF-16-bit encoding scheme. Surrogate here. Okay. With this overview of common encodings now complete, we'll move to handling issues in encoding and decoding operations. Hey, Cyan, how's it going, dude? Or sorry, Scorpion. How's it going, man? Welcome into the chat. I appreciate you being here and joining me. Welcome in. Welcome in, my friend. We've been reading for a while. I've been kind of on a groove here. I've been kind of having fun reading. It's been nice learning some new stuff here about. Well, I mean, my honestly, my binary and kind of byte understanding and bytecode understanding is pretty low and vague, just because we've been, running in Python. It's been handling a lot of the byte stuff for us, via underneath the hood. So I've had the luxury of being ignorant, and so I've been wanting to understand really more about bytes on like a conceptual level and whatnot. So I do have that one book that I got for my parents got me for Christmas last year, like about the history of code and whatnot, that I might try to read like on my own. Rule of it's always UTF-8 unless it isn't, and it's probably Latin 1. Yeah, it's probably good. Nice silver, dude. Understanding encode / decode problems. We're on page 125. When does this chapter end? 160. Okay. Okay, well, I'm gonna get to like page 130 then, I think, and then stop. And so then maybe we can finish the chapter tomorrow. Although there is a generic Unicode error exception, the error reported by Python is usually more specific, either a Unicode encode error when convert. Okay, so this is errors. So we have a Unicode encode error when converting str to binary sequences, or a okay, so this is error raised when converting str to binary sequences, or a Unicode decode error right, when reading binary sequences into str. Error raised when reading binary loading Python modules may also raise syntax error. Okay, when the source encoding is unexpected. Error raised when the source encoding is unexpected during when loading Python modules. The first thing to note when you get a Unicode error is the exact type of the exception. Is it Unicode encode or a decode error? Other types of error syntax that mentions encoding problems. To solve the problem, you understand it. You have to understand it first. Coping with Unicode error? Not copying, coping. Most. So this is a. Most non-UTF codecs or encode decoders handle only a small subset of the Unicode characters when converting text to bytes. If a character is not defined in the target encoding, Unicode encode error will be raised unless special handling is provided by passing an errors argument to the encoding method or function. The behavior of error handling is shown in example 4-5. So encoding to bytes, success, and error handling. So we have a city of a quote Sao Paulo. We want to encode that string into UTF-8. So that gives us a byte string of this. We then encode into UTF-16 that same string. So that we encode the already encoded UTF-8. We then encode it into ISO, and then we encode it into CP437. This calls a traceback for a Unicode encode error for char map for the codecs can't encode the character \xe3. So there's a character in Sao Paulo that we can't encode using CP437. So I'm guessing it is the Sao with that, the A with the little squiggly on top. So then if we call errors ignore, that'll just pass it, and then then it just makes it, okay. Then you can call errors replace, and that'll replace it with a question mark. And then you can call errors XML char ref replace. Okay, interesting. So for this portion here, there's some errors arguments passed through, so you can do to handle these encoding errors. So the UTF, CP437 can't encode the A, which is with a tilde. The default error handler strict raises the Unicode encode error. The error ignore handler skips the code character that can't be encoded, leading to silent data loss. When the encoding error replace substitutes characters with a question mark, data is also lost, but users will get a clue that something is amiss. And the XML char ref replace replaces encoded characters with an XML entity. If you can't use UTF, you can't afford to lose data. This is the only option. The codec errors handling is extensible. You may register extra strings for the errors arguments by passing a name and an error handling function to the codecs register error function. ASCII is a common subset to all of the encodings that I know about. Therefore, encoding should always work if the text is made exclusively of ASCII characters. Python 3.7 added a new Boolean stir method called stir is ASCII, right, to check whether your Unicode text is 100% pure ASCII. If it is, you should be able to encode it to bytes in any encoding without raising the Unicode encode error. That's good to know too. Let's get this example into our notes here. So then we'll go here and also take the breakdown. Hey, Ahmad. Pause on that. Bro going deep. Pause. Unicode problems always remember me about my SQL misconfiguration. Good night, Mike. Have a good day of our shift. Later, Tim. Thanks for stopping in tonight. Thanks for checking back in. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. Tim. Mr. Tim. See you tomorrow, my guy. Again, you guys, these notes are on my my GitHub, link down in the description for free. If you want access to my notes for Fluent Python, feel free to access them in there as well. And then also, while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and throw in the PDF. Oh, I already am. I already do include the PDF here in my notes as well. So it's in my Discord down in the description, but also I include the PDF inside the directory here as well. So if you guys want access to follow along with reading and with notes, or read independently, or read my notes offline, my notes do a great job of kind of extracting out the kind of important stuff. And so, like, feel free. And if you do use the notes, please star the repo on GitHub. Thank you guys so much. I'll go ahead and just grab it for you guys real quick. There it is. Feel free to use those notes. Start if you would be so kind. Hey Koji, yeah, I stream every single day. Every single day, my guy. Or pretty much. I took a little bit of a break after we failed the job interview, but yeah, every day we grinding. Okay. Okay, so then I'm gonna do this. Stir dot is, I want to keep this note of this method. Method added in Python 3.7 returns a boolean of whether your Unicode okay. All right, and then coping with Unicode decode error. Not every byte holds a valid ASCII character, and not every byte sequence is a valid UTF or UTF-16. Therefore, when you assume one of these encodings while converting a binary sequence into text, right, if you decode, you will get a Unicode decode error if unexpected bytes are found. On the other hand, many legacy 18-bit encodings like CP1252 and ISO 8851_1 and COI 8_R are able to decode any stream of bytes, including random noise, without reporting errors. Therefore, if your program assumes the wrong 8-bit encoding, it will silently decode garbage. Example 4.6 illustrates how using the wrong codec may produce gremlins or a Unicode decode error. So decoding from stir 2 bytes, success in error handling. So we have octets. Okay. And then we decode that using CP1252 into Montreal. And then you decode it. Okay, got you. So the word Montreal encoded as Latin 1 uses the bytes with the right E. Encoding from Windows 1252 works because of its superset of Latin 1. ISO 8859 is intended for Greek, so the is misinterpreted and no error is issued. COI AR is Russian. Now it stands for the Cyrillic letter inverse N, or I don't know any Russian. I don't know what that is. The UTF-8 codec detects the octets is not valid UTF-8 and raises the encode decode error. Using replace error handling, the \XE9 is replaced with the question mark code point, the official Unicode replacement character intended to replace unknown or represent unknown characters. take this example. Hey, yo Sylvia, how's it going? Hey, I am. Awesome, you reading Fluent Python? Where are you at in the book? How far are you? Thanks for joining me here. You guys are awesome. If you guys are new, consider subscribing. We're at 2480. Thanks so much for getting me to 2480. We're pushing for 2500. I stream every single day. My name is Michael. I'm 26 years old. I have a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry. And I work as a formulation chemist for a biotech company. And I've been teaching myself how to code and computer science from scratch by reading books and just practicing and building raw projects from the ground up. Every single day after my 9-to-5 job. So thank you guys so much for being here. I have literally a year's worth of streams of me learning from scratch here. We've taken courses like Harvard CS50P, CS50X. We've read books like Fluent Python, Python Crash Course, Data Structures and Algorithms in Python. We've built projects like SpectroSim. I'll show you guys that here. We have SpectroSim, right, which is one of our projects. We'll have to wait for the response from our database. We have a ChromaPlot, which is one of our projects, which is really nice online, which is really cool. We also have michaeldeming.com, which is really nice too. You can access all of my projects on my website here, michaeldeming.com. They have demos of them. I still need to do a demo for my SpectroSim. Hence why it's not as clean right now. I gotta fix that. Yeah. Hey, Adit. Thanks for coming in, dude. Appreciate you so much. You're awesome, my guy. Okay, we'll finish probably this page and we're almost there. A couple more pages to 130. That's my goal for tonight, is get to 130. Syntax error when loading modules with unexpected encoding. UTF-8 is the default source encoding for Python 3, just as ASCII was the default for Python 2. If you load a Py module containing a non-UTF-8 data and no encoding declaration, you will get a message like this, syntax error. Because UTF-8 is widely deployed in the GNU/Linux and Mac OS systems, a likely scenario is opening a .py file created on Windows with CP1252. Note that this error happens even in Python for Windows because the default encoding for Python 3 source is UTF-8 across all platforms. To fix this problem, adding a magic coding comment at the top of the file, as shown in example 4-7. Example 4-7 of voila. .py, hello world in Portuguese, or hola, not voila. Hello world in Portuguese. So we have hashtag encoding CP1252, print this. Note that Python 3 source code is no longer limited to ASCII and defaults to the excellent UTF-8 encoding. The best fix for source code and legacy encodings like CP1252 is to convert them to UTF-8 already and not bother them with coding comments. Note that Python 3 source code is no longer limited to ASCII and default in UTF-8 encoding. The best fix for source code is legacy encodings like. It's time to switch. Okay, suppose you have a text file, be it source code or poetry, but you don't know it's encoding. How to detect the actual encoding? Answer is in the next section. So you can make a coding comment. People are starting to light off fireworks here in the USA outside my apartment here. You can hear them. a comment at the top of a .py file indicating the codec used. I want to see if that's correct. Okay, that is right. Okay, so next, how to discover the encoding of a byte sequence. How do you find the encoding of a byte sequence? Short answer, you can't. You must be told. Some communication protocols like file formats like HTTP and XML contain headers that explicitly tell us how the content is encoded. You can be sure that some byte streams are not ASCII because they contain byte values over 127, and the way UTF-8 and UTF-16 are built also limit the possible byte sequences. Leo's hack for guessing UTF-8 decoding. The next paragraphs come from a note left by tech reviewer Leonardo Rachal in the draft of this book. The way that UTF-8 was designed is almost impossible for a random sequence of bytes or even a non-random sequence of bytes coming from a non-UTF-8 encoding to be decoded accidentally as garbage in UTF-8 instead of raising a Unicode decode error. The reason for this are that UTF-8 escape sequences never use ASCII characters, and these escape sequences have bit patterns that make it very hard for random data to be valid UTF-8 by accident. So if you can decode some bytes containing codes that are greater than 127 as UTF-8, it's probably UTF-8. In dealing with Brazilian online services, some of which were attached to legacy backends, I've had on occasion to implement a decoding strategy to try to decode via UTF-8 and treat a Unicode decode error by handling decoding via CP1252. It was ugly but effective. However, considering that human languages also have their rules and restrictions, once you assume that a stream of bytes is human plain text, it may be possible to sniff out its encoding using heuristic and statistics. For example, if the byte code, or if the byte sequence of B, quote, /x00 bytes are common, it's probably a 16 or 32-bit encoding and not an 8-bit scheme because null characters in plain text are bugs. When byte sequence B \x20 \x00 appears often, it's more likely to be the space character in UTF-16 LE encodings rather than the obscure U+2000 and quad character, whatever that is. That is how the package Chardé, the universal character encoding detector, works to guess one of more than 30 supported encodings. Chardé is a Python library that you can use in your programs, but also a command line utility, chardetect. Here is what it reports on the source file for this chapter. UT8 with confidence, 99% confidence for UTF-8. Although binary sequences of encoded text usually don't carry explicit hints of their encoding, the UTF formats may prepend a byte order mark to the textual context. That is explained next. All right, we made it to page 130 here. A useful gremlin. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and push this up. All right, sweet. All right, I'm gonna work on my project just a little bit here. Let's go. Okay, so yesterday we left off on, we built a cache portion to house within the account, and then we linked the cache up to the total value of the portfolio. So what I'm going to do is supply a self dot underscore cache value here to the total, to the portfolio, right? To the portfolio. Okay. Okay, so when you add a position, if there's a parent portfolio, you take the position's total value increase. Okay, cool. Okay, here, so you add cache to the account. This increases the cache and increases the portfolio, parent portfolio's total cache. So then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say cache here to add, and cache to remove, parent portfolio, cache here, cache to remove. Just take it from the total value in the current cache, and the parent's cache. Okay. So then total value of the portfolio, right, is going to round plus self dot underscore cache here. I'm going to rename this to stock value. Maybe stock asset value. So that'll be the total value of the portfolio, with the stock asset value plus the cash value of the account. So I'm gonna go here and go total. The total value is going to be replaced with stock asset value. Okay, and then this one's going to become self dot cache plus equals that. You decrease the current cache from the account. Stock asset value. access its private variables. Okay, so then if I go to account here, add a position on, if you add a position, you increase the parent total value through stock asset value. So I'm looking at my position. Okay, so then if I say, okay, an account, name, institution, parent portfolio, total value of the account. So this is going to be stock asset value. So everything that's self dot underscore total value, I need to make self dot stock underscore stock asset value. Plus self dot cash. So then we go, let's go def cash here. We already did cash. We'll do def stock asset value given self here. And we'll say return self dot stock asset value. I'll make this a property. So then I'll give this to the portfolio. And then I'm also going to give this one a cache property as well. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Add a portfolio, add account, add 1 share of Apple, 0 average cost. Okay, so let's just go through okay, let's just go back through. Okay, our position, ticker, shares, average cost, parent account. Get info just returns info, and update just updates the stuff. So maybe on update we might need to do this. So if we say parent account total value, stock asset value, right? That's what it is, not total value, it's stock asset value. Parent So when we update current, this will be current stock asset value, right? Self dot stock asset value. Self dot stock asset value. And then current unrealized gain is this. Stock asset value. Total value. Value. Current price, sector. Total value of the position. That's fine. Hey, thanks so much, Media, for the W. Hey, Norpai, how's it going, my guy? Welcome in on Twitch. Appreciate you being here. Okay, so I'm trying to just link stuff together here appropriately for the cash accounts, right? So okay, let's see here. Okay, so I have a portfolio. I have one account in the portfolio, and I add the account to the portfolio, right? I have a position, and I add the position to the account. I print out the account total value. So account has a total value here, which is that plus cash. Cash is 0 here, okay, which is good. And then let me also print out test account dot stock asset value here. Let me remove these two. Good. So these two are summing up together to make this, which is good. So then if I go and do test account dot add cash, let's add $100 of cash. And then let's call this again. Okay, so total account value went up by $200 here. Stock asset value also went up by $100, and cash went up by $100. So that's not correct. You all right? So somewhere our stock asset value is being set to total value somewhere. Okay, so on add cash, stock asset value, okay, that's right here. Stock asset value went up by cash. That's not supposed to happen. So I'll remove that right there. And then that's not supposed to happen there. You just parent portfolio cash goes down. And then your cash goes down. Okay, so now if I go back and try this again. Boom, okay, perfect. So now I'm getting, I add $100, I had originally total value of $212, one stock of Apple, and no cash. Right? And then if I say I added $100 of cash, that increased my value. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to print out test portfolio dot stock asset value dot cash and total value. Okay. Added $100 of cash. That's this guy here. So the test portfolio total stock asset value is 212 good with $100 of cash. Great. So I'm going to print out a new line here just to keep it distinguished. Nice. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new account called Roth IRA, and we'll make this with Fidelity, and we'll add the account. Just account 2. Okay, I'm going to add a position of Apple to test account 2, add position, test position 2. Okay. Right, and so now this should stay the same. This should stay the same, but my portfolio should go up by an additional share of Apple here for stock asset value and total value. Okay, so we went up by 1 share of Apple, perfect, and that reflects there, nice. So then let me call test let me add test account 2 dot add cash 100. So now if we add $100 of cash to our test account 2, we should have $200 of cash in our portfolio, 2 shares of Apple, and those summed together gives us this. Perfect. Nice. It's going good. We're building a cool project here. It's got some really good structure, and everything's working together appropriately, which is really nice. Okay, so I'm going to go through and just add some comments here. Add cash to right. Thank you guys so much for the subs. I appreciate you guys so much. Got that hiccups. Jeez Louise. Okay, so cash, stock asset value, unrealized gain. Okay, when you add an account, sync the account to the portfolio. Right? This is add the account to the account's data structure. Increase the portfolio stock asset value by the account's stock asset value. Its unrealized gain by its unrealized gain. Increase the portfolio stock asset value, unrealized gain, and cash proportionally. And this is just print success message. Got the hiccups bad, guys. Okay, so we increase the account by the account stock asset value, unrealized gain in cash. Perfect. Total value is stock asset value plus cash. Stock asset, cash, unrealized gain. Perfect. So I originally didn't have, Silver Dude asked, why does the account need to store a ref to its parent? Sorry, I have the hiccups, you guys. We're doing that so we can get access, like rather than like, it's not inheritance because we're not inheriting properties to reuse, right? It's relational via like linkage, not by inheritance. So we wouldn't want to use class inheritance here for that reason. I'm using it as a pass-through so I can get access to the values of its sub-accounts, right? So you have a portfolio, and by linking the two together via a variable, like instance variables, right? By linking the two together, if I have an account and I have a portfolio, there's nothing that actually links them together to get access between the two objects' values, right? But if I'm not inheriting here. So in order to get access from my portfolio, in order to get access to the portfolio.account.cache, right, I have to somehow link to get the account within the portfolio. And I'm doing that by just having it be within the instance. So when you add an account, you sync it by setting it here, and so now I have access to all of the values within the actual account itself through this through we have access to the portfolio's values through the account, and so I can propagate changes in the account upwards to the portfolio, right? So if I'm working on the account and I make a new transaction and add 10 shares of Apple at a certain price, well, if I just added it to that account, there's actually nothing transmitting that information upwards to the overarching portfolio, right? Unless I did like a specific method or function call to access that object somehow via like a pass in. And so rather than having to pass in the portfolio object into the function call, let's just link the portfolio together and create this kind of bond, like this kind of hierarchical tree structure between this portfolio and the accounts and the positions within the accounts, this kind of pyramid tree structure. And then you can get access and you can propagate the changes in cash and the changes in stock asset value upwards to the parent portfolio, right? So if I add $100 of cash here, I need to flag that I added $100 of cash to not only the account but to the overall portfolio as well. My account increased in $100, but my portfolio, right, is a portfolio of the overarching whatnot. well, it kind of looks like a tree in how I'm linking these. It's like a visual tree. Right? I'm not saying it's an actual tree. It's a visual tree based on like memory pointers almost, right? All right, let's continue on here. Okay, so that took care of that. In the print the success mentioned, we delete account. If the account, right, we're gonna get the remainder pop, and then delete, decrease the stock asset value. Stock asset value, unrealized gain, unrealized decrease by their cash. This cash. Okay, so I think that takes care of that. So now let's make sure we have no bugs here. So parent portfolio, stock asset value, unrealized in cash. So we add a position, we link, sync the account. Right, sync the position to the account. Already found position. Check if there's already a position with the ticker. Right, if there's not, raise. Let's add it. So we don't even need this else here. So add the position. Position total value. So my position has a current price sector total value. Average cost, yeah, okay. Okay, total value, unrealized gain. That looks good. So here we'll say add. Add the position's data structure. Say increase the account stock asset value and unrealized gain proportionally. I'll say here position total value is equal to stock asset value. There is no cash on position. Something like that, right? Then you print a success message. Right? If there is a parent portfolio, push position values. Okay. Positions. Value. You delete the position, you get the total value per portfolio. Stock asset value. Gain. Stock asset value. You add cash to the parent portfolio and to the current account. You remove cash from the parent portfolio from the current account. Good. Okay, so then let's go. Okay, so now if we run, good, so getting $200 of cash. So now I'm going to duplicate this down, but I'm going to say, I'm going to take this and I'm going to remove cash. From each of them and reprint. So cash got removed. That dropped by 200. Perfect. That stayed as is. So let me print these guys. And then let me also print account 2, stock value and cash. Okay, so it takes away the cash. You print out account 1, which has 1 share of Apple, for a total value and 0 cash. Perfect. Nice. Okay, so these are linking together good. Okay, nice. Haha, feels good. Stuff's looking really nice. Looking really nice. You guys can also put, send in PRs, pull requests, if you guys have any suggestions for fixes or see anything wrong with what I'm writing or want to add anything as well. Oh, here's my Spectra Sim project I forgot to show you guys. So, right, you can generate these plots. You can do like benzoic acid, right? It searches the database from PubChem. So it currently has a spin down period to the server. So render.com has a spin down period, which makes it really annoying. So dude, honestly, probably should just take an evening and just host this project on a different platform because render.com is brutal for access for the startup period. You guys have any suggestions for alternate platforms to do this on? Because this is not my algorithm, right? My algorithm's pretty quick for doing this because you'll see once it spins up for the first time, it goes fast. Come on. This is brutal. See, it's really slow. Come on, render.com. You're so screwing me. Come on, render. There we go. See, now you can generate, and then you can generate the plots, which is really nice. Right, and see, and then you can zoom in with Plotly, which looks really cool too. But look, see, then I can search up like salicylic acid. Look how fast it is. Boom, it's fast. It's so fast, right? It's just that first one is so slow. And you can do like sodium. Not found. Let's say there's no data for that one. Let's say aspirin. Aspirin, we got it. Generate. Nice. I can do like humarin. There it is. Generate. Nice. Thanks for your messages on Discord, you guys. I like your messages. All right. I still say AWS Lambda is worth looking at, but you might have to re-architect things slightly. Don't know. Or just pull the stack code in your repo and make the front end only version that you host on GitHub pages. How could I host it? I would have to rebase or refactor my code to bypass my API call. And I would have to stack a bunch of data preloaded, basically. I mean, it definitely is worth it. Like we could just refactor our code down to bypass the calls to the back end, and then just basically write a script to just scrape over thousands of compounds prematurely and generate our static database, and then just run off that. Right. If you can host a front end statically and just do the magic bits on something like Lambda through REST APIs, call it, could kind of work out, I imagine. Cloudflare Workers is goated. It's free and no cold starts. Basically, the deal with Lambda is It runs on micro VM to run your Python code and returns stuff as JSON. Cloudflare workers. Hey, Crubbles. You a biochemist? Right, you can look up, let's say, give me a list of like 50 compounds on PubChem that could have all right, let's take some of these guys. Not found. Let's see how many my my regular expression's able to hit on here. 0 for 2. I think this one we do hit on. I think I've seen this one before. 0 for 3. Dang. 0 for 4. Brutal. 0 for 4. 0 for 5. Come on. Dude. Brutal. No, come on. Don't do me like this. No. Come on. No, we're gonna go 0 for 10 right now. My regular. See, some of these compounds don't have the exact like absorption spectroscopy regular expression that we're kind of looking for. Dang. That sucks. None of those hit on my site. Give me more. More. We'll take that one. What's going on here? Come on. Okay. Come on, one of these has got to hit. Dude, come on, really? I wonder if it's working appropriately. Like if it's actually doing my API calls or if it's just checking my cache. Dude, I don't know. There's Oh, we got one. Okay, so it does work for stuff that's it's just you have to so I wrote a custom algorithm that basically it's looking for the specific point of absorption spectroscopy. So not every compound has this specific RAN kind of test. I think it's like a specific institution that is trying to find their run. So not all the compounds have them, but it is parsing my API calls and doing it appropriately. This one I did not have in the cache. Dang, we're still not hitting here. Dang, brutal. I'll try that one. No UV vis data. It found the compound though, but no UV vis data. Try. I'll try that one. And see, some of these like actually don't give us a response back. We've gotten that a couple of times. Right. Let's see, some interesting. This is my chroma plot, which is pretty cool too. Yeah, see, this one just doesn't get a response back for some reason. Hey, thick engineer, how's it going? Thick engineer, thick engineer. Okay, all right, let's keep on pushing here. All right, so we successfully got and linked up. So what I'm doing here, you guys, is this is what our project is going to look like. So you have an overarching portfolio. Right? Within your portfolio, you can have accounts. Right? And then within your accounts, you can have positions like, Apple or Microsoft or hymns, etc., 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 right? And so this is basically the kind of tree structure that I was, or graph structure that I was kind of depicting earlier, and so by linking these together via pointers, right, I'm able to transmit the cache values, the stock asset values, and then overarching these together, the total values of the entire accounts up to the portfolio summed across all the accounts to have, a cache and a stock asset. Right? So that's kind of how I was doing this project so far. If you guys are interested in wanting to participate in this, you can join my Discord link down below completely for free. Get access to an entire roadmap of my learning resources. My name is Michael. I have a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry. And I work as a formulation chemist 9 to 5 every single day, and I teach myself how to code after my job every single day. I got no life. I do this. I literally do science and STEM work 12 to 15 hours a day every single day. Just learning as much as I can and growing and having fun and streaming my progress to you guys. Hey, we're 11 subs away from 2,500. Thank you guys so much for subbing along and joining me here. We got 33 people watching on YouTube. Thank you guys so much. We got like a whole class here. Thank you guys so much for being here. That's awesome. Let me know what you guys are working on and what you guys are studying. Let me know what your levels are, and let me know if you have any questions or anything. Yeah, join my Discord link down below to get access to books like Fluent Python, Python Crash Course, my personal notes that I've taken, like we've done notes in Fluent Python, like we've been doing, like that are on my GitHub right now, all of my personal notes for the readings, my week-by-week breakdowns of Harvard CS50X and CS50P. I streamed my entire progress of Harvard CS50X. I didn't have the channel made when I did the CS50P. That was my first ever programming introduction, but yeah, I have a week-by-week breakdown, and I streamed every single week and me solving the problem sets live for CS50X. So if you're having struggles, staying motivated and focused and solving the problem sets on your own, consider solving them with me and watching those streams back and those re-uploads back, where you can watch with a friend. Nice, Sylvia. You have any projects you have in mind that you've been working on and trying to practice with? That's really awesome. All right, so we're building basically, like I talked about, is kind of this overarching stock dashboard where you have a portfolio which links to multiple accounts with basic positions. And then all of that summed together can give you kind of like this net worth kind of perspective or POV. POV, net worth. Right? You can get a POV of basically your entire net worth, across many different accounts. And so what I would like to do also is um, when you have transactions, when you do various transactions, like add a position to an account or delete a position to account or add or remove or overwrite the cache values, um, right? Then I parent portfolios total stock. Oh no, this is wrong. So if we overwrite cache, we want to decrease self dot underscore cache here. We want to decrease the parent portfolio's cache. We want to set the new cache so we get the value of the current cache, of our current cache. We remove that from so I guess this isn't really crucial. So we have a current cache, we get the current cache value. We decrease from the portfolio that cache value, and we set the new cache value that given to us as the current cache value. And then we increase the parent portfolio cache value. Parent portfolio cache value by the new cache value. Increase it. Right, so you get the current cache. You remove that from the parent portfolio cache. You set the new cache value to the current cache. You overwrite it, and then you update the parent portfolio with the new cache. I'm going to ask about this function, make sure that I have this looking good. I wrote this function. Could you take a peek and let me know if there are any major issues? Don't show me code, just explain. The purpose is to overwrite the cache value with a completely new value and update the linked parent port as well. You're clearly validating that the new cache value isn't negative. You're keeping track of the existing cache before overwriting. You're updating the parent portfolio cache delta using the difference. You're missing a null on safety. You're assuming the parent portfolios always exist. If it doesn't, the account hasn't been added to the portfolio. You can attribute error. You either want to add a conditional check to make sure the parent portfolio exists before trying to update it, or if the parent portfolio is always guaranteed by your logic documentation, that document that assumption clearly. Does not update total value. You're not updating the cache. You're updating the cache, but not updating the account's total value. The cache is a part of that. It means your total. Okay, so no, because total value is being updated dynamically on a property call. Okay, so I guess we can add in some logic here to have some better edge case detection. So let's do this. So for overwrite cache, if new cache is equal to self.cache, right, if it's equal to self.cache, we're going to raise a value error and say cache overwrite fail, new cache value is equal to old. Okay. And then it wanted us to make sure that there actually is a portfolio. So I'll say if self dot underscore parent portfolio, we'll go ahead and do this. And we'll go ahead and I'm going to take this print message, put this here, successfully reserved overwritten as new cache. And then I'll put a success message here saying that the self dot parent portfolio dot name, right? We'll title case that caches are successfully updated. By, and then we'll put the new cache level here. Okay, so I'm going to take this function now. We'll say go here. Okay, I made some changes to better handle edge cases. What do you think? See, this is how I kind of been doing a lot of learning and just like trial and error. I just kind of like, use the AI as like a TA that your TA at school would never give you the answer or like, write the code for you, but it would coach you to show you things that are wrong and like as you're learning. So use it the same way. These updates are excellent documents that break down what you improved in small things to consider. Great idea to guard against no op overwrites. This prevents unnecessary recalculations. Reordering logic. You now assign self cache and new cache before updating the portfolio. That semantic sounds. Makes your local state current before bubbling the changes upward. Conditional portfolio handling. You added a check on whether your portfolio exists. This handles potential attribute error. The print statement's user friendly. Slight math inconsistently in portfolio message, update message. You're subtracting the old value and adding the new one, correct? But your message says increased by the new cache, which might be, oh, so no. The new cache value is old cache, new cache value less old cache value. Oh, okay, so I'll say current cache. Okay, so we have to do it like this. All right. Now we're printing the delta, which is clear. You properly check. And then I'll let them know I changed total value to just be a property of stock asset value plus underscore cache. Nice. That's an elegant and clean architectural move, making total value computer popular than a manual tracking and updated several major benefits. Perfect. The account didn't increase. Is that what you meant, Minecraft dude? By this thing right here? Thanks for the sub, Minecraft dude. Appreciate you so much. You're awesome, my guy. We're 10 away from 2,500, you guys. So if you're new here, we're 10 away. Consider dropping a sub. And if you guys are here, consider liking the stream. It really, really helps. I appreciate all the love and the likes on the stream. It's completely free. So if you're enjoying the stream and hanging out with me here, and enjoy the content and the resources in the Discord, just throw a thumbs up. Appreciate you guys so much. All right, let's go git add. And we'll say fix bug fix. I'll say fix math and flow of account cache. Cache. Nice. All right, that's cool. That's cool. Let's make sure we're still working appropriately here. All right, we're still getting two things of Apple in there, $200 of cash for a total of $600. So yeah, 2 shares of Apple stretched across 2 different accounts. Nice. That looks really good. So let me go to my account here. I'm going to do some \ns here on the success messages. Updated. Add cache. Error successfully. New cash balance is $100. Okay. That looks good. Just subscribe me. Also learning Python just for fun and to make new things. I'm already doing game dev too. Working. Nice, dude. Shabam. Woo! That's awesome, my guy. Thanks for the sub. Thank you for the 2 subscribes, you guys. Yeah, I stream every single day. I have a degree in human biology and minor in chemistry. I've been teaching myself Python by reading books. We start off the streams every day by reading. So we read about 10 or 15 pages, maybe 20 pages of Fluent Python today. So a really, really good reading session today. At the beginning, we're getting back into our roots, continuing reading. We read Python Crash Course and did Harvard CS50P. So those are 2 great resources to pair together to do if you're learning. I have weekly breakdowns of Harvard CS50P in my Discord. I have my notes and Python Crash Course information in there as well. And I also have, I'm also uploading, going back through Python Crash Course and uploading the Try It Yourself problem solutions to those for you guys as well. So there's like basic things like how to use like functions and some simple problems for you guys to like practice with and solve, and they're really helpful. So consider going back through and watching those videos. I have a couple days off work these next couple days for the July 4th break. So us Americans, we get the July 4th off, but my work, I also get the 3rd off. So I have tomorrow and Friday off, so I'm planning on grinding out Python crash course videos for you guys. So I'm going to try to record like, I think probably like 5 a day. I'm going to try to record like 5 a day and just upload a ton of them over the next week for you guys and really get caught up. You guys, I got some comments telling me that people really enjoyed them and they missed them, and I need to keep on the grind with those videos for you guys. So I'm gonna put out the videos. I also have the last 2 weeks of Harvard CS50X to upload to the channel for the watch-alongs. So I have the stream recordings. I just finished an editing week 8 on JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. So I'll be uploading the watch along on my channel for that tomorrow as well. So that's coming. All right, you guys. So we successfully were able to convert. So we'll go get. We'll add. Fix. Prints. All right, cool. If you guys aren't following me on my GitHub, consider doing that as well. This is a community project, so if you guys are wanting to participate and add stuff, if you have any suggestions for, I'm going to be getting into building like the actual front end for it using either, I haven't decided whether I want to use React and make it full stack or whatnot, or use just Tkinter and have it be more local and have it just be with file structure and file database. With JSON or something like that. I haven't really decided yet, but so let me know. But if you guys are wanting to participate, you can. This is open for you guys. Nice. So so what we've successfully done is we have the ability to create a portfolio, create accounts, and add them to the portfolio, syncing together their values. And then we have the ability to create positions and add positions to the accounts that syncing together their values. And so we get this kind of this 3-way propagation from positions all the way up to portfolio, having the values of them synced all the way together. Yeah, PyQt. So in my small business manager, we used Tkinter last time, which was fun. It was pretty easy. So I was thinking about maybe just using that one again, get some more familiarity, or we could try a different package. They're all pretty similar in style, it seems like. Anti-aliasing. Not really sure what anti-aliasing is. I've heard it before though. Shoot. See, the thing about YouTube is that I forget, and the autoplay screws me. It's been playing songs here by people that have probably been copyright, so I'm gonna have to cut those out of the stream. Gosh dang it. I gotta turn off the autoplay. Where is that at? Where is the autoplay? Oh, I want to. I don't want this to be a playlist. I just want to play this song. Oh, whatever. Okay, so I think my plan for tomorrow, we are going to start building a kind of actual interface for this project. I'm to the point where I have my structure kind of outlined for what I need, or actually what I might do tomorrow is build a transaction log. So every time we make a a move, like every time we add a position to an account or we delete a position or overwrite, add cache, remove cache, if we update a position, right? That's got to go there. That's an error. That's a bug. We shouldn't see total value in here at all except for on this guy. So total value, good. Only one indicates, which is here. Perfect. Then total value should only have one there. Good. And then total has 8. Because a position has a total value. Yeah. Position has a total value. This is a position. Yeah, okay. Are you on social media? Yeah, you can, well, I only have my YouTube, and you can, I have my website, michaeldeming.com. Go over to my community. I have just my Discord server with, I have to update this. I think this is closer to like 700 now. What are we at? What are we at, boys? Ladies and gents, what are we at? We're at, how do I see this? How do I see member count? Here we go. 619. 619. Yes, I gotta update this. We're over 600. So my YouTube channel, my Discord, and then my LinkedIn. So you can go to my LinkedIn if you'd like. And follow me there. I don't have Instagram, or I try to delete those distractions to help with this grind. Okay, so I think my plan for tomorrow is I'm going to build the transaction log. I think we're going to build the transaction. Hey, Sinocron, how's it going, dude? It's going good. Oh, Biochemist is going all right, I guess. We're almost 6 subs away from 2,500, you guys. Thank you guys so much for the love. Okay, you know what? I have a little bit more energy. I kind of want to build. Let's build this. Or actually, hold on. Let's push before we do this. Account. Fix account link. Okay, so let's go to our transaction. Let's build this class. Okay, so a transaction, what do we need to give this a transaction? So a transaction, transaction type, which is going to be a stir. So a transaction, what are things that, so you can either buy or sell, you can add cash. So those will be under types. We'll say date, which will be a datetime object. From datetime. So this will be a datetime object. What else do we want to have for the transaction? So you want to have a type, a date, Discord API integration, amount sent for the transaction. Okay, I like that. So the date, the like amount, right? This will be of a float. So like the amount that was used within the transaction, and then obviously like a note of a stir, like for any transaction notes that you want to have associated with this. I think I'm notes stir. Okay, let's just start off with this for now. Okay, let's say self dot transaction type equals to transaction type. Self dot date time equals to, I'm actually, you're not going to pass in this date time. I'm going to say self dot date time equals to a date time dot today. We'll say self dot amount equals to amount, and self dot notes equals to notes. But then I'm going to give this a so I'm going to say this, I'm going to say self dot, I'm going to give it a property actually. Let's define a property called def description, right, given self. And what I'm going to do is return a string where I'm going to basically give it like a pre-set up transaction description. So I'll say transaction of, we'll do amount here, self.amount, transaction of, so then actually I'm going to give this, we do need to give it a parent, like, right? So a parent to wherever. So this is going to be like of type like an object, right? So the parent will be an object. Hey Shivam. 4096 subs is the real milestone for a programmer. We're almost halfway there. A little over halfway, my boys. We're 5 away from 2,500. If you guys can push me up to 2,500, woo! Let's get the jazz going. A little louder here. Let's turn it up. Woo! Here we go, boys. Let's roll. Yo, I like that. Rock with me a little bit. All right, transaction of this amount on, I'm going to say self.datetime.date at self.datetime.time and then I'm going to say self.parent.name.title. Okay. So that will right. So let's go to my account here. And I'm going to go to from.transaction, import transaction. So when I add a position, right, I'm going to create a transaction out of this position. Right. I'm going to create a transaction and I'm going to give it a transaction type of quote add position, a amount equal to so the position total value. And then yeah, so the position total value, the notes. So by default, we'll say, actually, we'll take this. Could be none. that's all I'll say for the transaction. So we'll create this transaction. Object. And then how do I want to save it? Hey, thanks so much for the love, Nicola. I like that name. Thanks so much. Where are you from? That's a cool name. Hey, Palash, how did your interview go? Oh boy, bro, trying to bring up the dark past. It didn't go. It went all right. I didn't get the job. I got rejected. Honestly, they were looking for kind of a more of like an advanced Python scripter. Yes, I am more of an intermediate Python guy, but there was some stuff I wasn't able to solve live in front of them. I was very nervous. I definitely think I could have solved it given a little bit more time. I for sure think I could have solved it given a little bit more time, but given the pressures of being in front of two people and only having a little bit of time to do it, I like to, I don't know, I'm much more methodical about my approach. I like to think about my code and take my time and work through the problems. I'm not much of a big rusher through code. At least I'm not to that level where I can rush and produce. And so, but they wanted someone, I guess, more advanced. The job title was interesting. It said software engineer of chemistry. And so I really thought that they were going to value my chemistry knowledge and biology background to be able to bring that to the table. But they didn't ask me not anything related to chemistry, not one thing. The only thing they asked me in the screening, in the take-home problem, was all programming related. I mean, the take-home problem was just a little bit tweaked towards a chemistry related subject, but it didn't have any chemistry related to it at all. It was just parsing a file basically and extracting out battery capacity data and plotting it over certain points and finding a charge versus discharge and plotting it. And so, it took me like an hour and a half, 2 hours to kind of work through that one, which was the time limit I was given. But then they gave me a pretty similar problem, but they actually stepped it up a notch by asking me to wrap the data that I extracted from the CSV into custom data classes, and then separate the data classes by section as well. And so, but again, they gave me 2 hours for a little bit of an easier problem. And then they gave me then the one they gave me in the interview live was a little bit harder, and they only gave me the 20 minutes to do it. So I don't know. Honestly, I really think that they were just looking for an advanced Python scripter rather than a Python chemist. So I think that the title was a little bit deceiving, and not relate actual, but it's okay. We learn, we love. Are you allowed to share what they asked you? I'm not sure. I don't know the ethical standpoints regarding what I can and can't share. I didn't get the job, so I don't really care sharing really whatever. I'll share. No, I don't really want to. I don't think I'll share specifics regarding the actual question. I don't think I'll actually share the PDF. I have a PDF of the question that was asked in the interview, and then my take-home problem as well, and my solution to my take-home problem. I could share those. I might in a couple of weeks after I let some time pass for ethical reasons. I'm not sure how it kind of goes. What do you guys think? But I think I will share it with you guys in a few weeks, just you guys can get some practice with something that you might see. I think it could be valuable for you guys to get, but well, things like that happen. I'm exactly like you too. I also get nervous when working in front of someone. I can't work as efficient as if I'd had moreover. I just heading into it college. I can't really give you tips. Oh, no worries, Palash. Yeah, dude. It's kind of interesting because you have to be able to code under their pressures, but that pressure that they apply to you is pretty unrealistic. Now, yes, you're going to feel some stress and pressure in crunch time, in terms of hours or overtime or asks or whatnot. But when you're actually in the job, it's a lot of a different type of stress than the interview type of stress, right? When you're getting the job and you have the security of having the job already, and but when you're trying to impress someone to get it, it's just a different type of stress and feeling that I don't think really represents the stress that you feel on the job as well. Because that's more of like I have stuff to do, I need to get myself to do it kind of thing, rather than like this is all in someone else's hands kind of stress, right? The stress that you feel like on the job is like, okay, this is up to me to be able to do. Whereas the stress that you feel in the interview is like, I really just have to make this person like me partially as well. So what do you guys think about that? Def worth a thought for sharing, for educating others. Yeah. I definitely wanted to give that out to you guys. I just wasn't sure on the ethical stand points regarding giving out the problem. But, you know, yeah. I like this song. Okay, so we have a transaction now. We have for add position. Now, let me go ahead and say, let me do this. Let me say self.transaction types is equal to, let's do a set of transaction types called add position, remove, is it remove position or delete position? Delete position. Let's do overwrite cache, add cache, I kind of want to say delete cache because we have add position, delete position. I'm going to change this to delete cache. Okay, yeah, delete cache. Okay, so then you have I like this one. This one's good. Okay, so transaction types, delete cache, add cache, overwrite cache, delete position, add position. Okay, so then let's go to add account, delete account, yep. Okay, then a position has update, I want to call add position update position. I like these. These are good. Are you building from scratch without using a framework? Yeah. That's usually how I build all my projects, from scratch. With my own ideas. I don't follow any tutorials. I don't go through tutorial hell or nothing like that. I just like building my own stuff that's unique to me. I think it's a lot more rewarding. Yes, it's more challenging, but I like being creative and pushing myself to build things that other people haven't built. Yeah, I'm not reinventing the wheel. Like, that's not the point of this. Like, I'm not reinventing something. I'm not creating Facebook or whatever, right? But I'm just like, this isn't going to make any money, but it's just going to like, it's just going, the value in it is what I'm learning and the practice that I'm getting by actually typing out code myself, getting my ideas onto code, getting my ideas into classes, building my own classes from scratch. Like, linking them together from scratch, like, yeah, all that combined together is the real value I'm getting out of this. It's an investment. All right, I'll check that out, Anand. Thanks, dude. I'll check that out, my guy. You're awesome. Okay. Update position, add position, delete position, overwrite cache, delete cache, add account, delete account, update position. So those are all the transaction types. So I'll say this first. If transaction type not in self dot transaction types, we're going to raise a value error saying transaction error, invalid transaction type, right, invalid transaction type. Else if we don't get the, well, else we'll set it if we don't get it, right? Perfect. So we can make sure that the transaction types is inside of this structure. So when we create this transaction, the add position will be in there, so this will be valid. So what I want to do for this transaction is do I want to just create like a log, basically? I'm gonna have to think about this. Like, how do I want to actually, so when we make moves, like by adding a position or deleting a position, what we're gonna do is we're going to create a transaction along the way as well. Like after it's done, we're gonna create a transaction. Now, do I want to have my transaction, like, do I want to have in here, like, have it open a file, write the transaction live on the transaction creation? Or how do I want to actually, this is kind of the point where I'm kind of needing to figure out my database structure, because I'm going to have to start saving information somehow. Now, whether I want to use like SQL, SQLite, just use JSON files, if I'm going to have it be a local kind of PyQt or Tkinter project, that's kind of, I'm going to need to think about that. So if you guys have any suggestions, let me know what you guys think. If you guys also want to participate, this project is open to the public and into my community. So if you want, you can join the Discord link down below completely for free, and participate, submit pull requests, chat with me within the Wackathon community section. It's not the hackathon, but it's a Wackathon, regarding features and stuff that you want. And yeah, so I need to figure out how I want to structure the database, or at least store the information regarding not only transactions, but everything else. Now, do I want to, I really don't think it's that necessary to like save the transaction information in a way that we can recreate the object, right? I really don't think that there's any need to take the transaction information statically off of a file, repopulate the class parameters, and make the transaction again. Like once the transaction is really only there to just be kind of like a auto logging tool that we have as an object, basically. So I'll write a function on here within the initialization, basically, to save and write this transaction to disk, I think is what I'm going to do. Now what we'll write to disk is we'll write the description and any additional notes as well, right? Because right now we're using the date and the time. We're saying the transaction of this on blank blank. So maybe I should format it more differently, like maybe have like the parent, like the account that it's associated with, right? The parent of the transaction that owns it. Thank you so much for the follow on Twitch, my guy. Ashura Hash. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you for the follow. You're awesome. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the parent. I'm going to put the parent out front. Or actually, transaction. I'm going to say the parent, the amount, and then the date that it took place. I'm going to do transaction type, and then the amount, and then the date. And then I'll do any I'll say notes, and I'll put quote N A if notes is none, else self dot notes dot capitalize. Right, so we'll say NA if the self notes is none, else we'll just use self notes and capitalize it. Man, I created a Tkinter and Pillow based image editor in the first semester of my college. Those were some wild times before ChatGPT. Nice, dude. That's awesome. That's pretty cool. I'm sure what in your next interview you'll bring that up, and then they'll ask you, well, did you have can you solve this LeetCode hard instead? We don't really care. That's what they'll say, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see. Let's go ahead and get some verification. I wrote this transaction class to house information about a update or something that takes place during my program. I plan on incorporating a auto write feature to a file of my choice on instantiation for the description. Basically, a object that, when created, just writes itself as a log. How does this look so far? Please do not show me code or make changes. Use your words to help me, to coach me. You're thinking in the right direction and a solid foundation for logging and traceability system. Here's a breakdown of what you're doing well. Encapsulating transaction metadata. You're treating each change, position update, cache adjustment, etc. as a formal event with metadata. This makes your system audit-friendly, debuggable, and eventually testable against logs. Strong type enforcement. By validating transaction type against a predefined set, you're controlling integrity at the point of data entry. This avoids garbage data from being logged. Including optional notes is great. It's opened the door for attaching semantic context. Built-in timestamping, storing the time of the transaction upon instantiation. Things to reflect on. Responsibility for writing to a file. You mentioned auto-writing on instantiation. Think carefully about whether logging is this object's responsibility or if that should be delegated to a logger or audit trail handler. Decoupling responsibilities will make your code more testable and adaptable. For example, the transaction class could focus on describing itself, with the transaction logger class listening for new transactions and handles the right to be file behavior. Scalability. Your transaction type set is small now, but if you expand for dividends, transfers, billets, etc., you may want to formalize this to an enum or central config. You're formatting a nice description string. You're keeping in mind how you'll parse it later if needed. You'll plan to ingest these logs or display them in a UI. Maybe better than pure strings. Parent reference. You're referencing parent object, good for tying the transaction to the account or portfolio. Just be mindful this creates tight coupling and you may want to log only its name or ID to avoid serialization headaches. Overall direction. You're approaching this with a backend system engineer. Nice. Hey, 2.5. Let me get a screenshot. Yo, let's go, you guys. Woo! Thank you guys so much for all the love. You guys are so awesome. Hey, 2.5. Woo! Yo! Let's go. Let's do, we gotta put on. $2.5. You guys remember this scene? I want to watch this movie with you guys on stream so bad. Welcome to Facebook.
Welcome to Facebook.
That was what I wish happened to me during my interview. I was the other guy during my interview. This was me.
Welcome to Facebook.
Oh, I think both of them got it. Never mind. I think both of them got in. This is me over here. These guys are me over here. The guys that didn't get in.
Welcome to Facebook.
That's me right there. You see that chicken, that girl in the background right here? This is me. I need to make an edit of this and put my face right here. This is me.
Welcome to Facebook.
Oh! Yeah! I didn't get it. $2.5K, baby. Here we go. Let's go, boys. Woo! We climbing up. We moving up, boys. Right, that's me right there. I'm gonna make an edit to that, I swear, and put my face on and be like, oh. That'd be funny. Okay, so let's write a def. I guess we'll do this. So if I write a you want to reload transaction from distant feature, you're matching class method from div class. So you say to dict. If I just return self.dict like this, I think that's all you have to do, right? Instrument. It goes to all the internal apps, even private ones. Not portable, uncontrolled output, better practice. Define a custom to include fields you want. Convert. Okay, so let's just return. So I'm going to say transaction dict is equal to, let's just build it, I guess, right? This is amount. Parent equals self dot. Dot name. And then we want to say nodes here. Daytime. Okay, so then let's just transaction dict here. Okay, I wrote a custom one. Self.datetime ISO format. It gives you easy human readable style like this. I'm gonna say, what can I say? Can I do this and put in like quote NA if Can you do this? I think so, actually. Self.notes. We'll say it's not parent, so then we'll say ISO format. Right. Okay, I like that. Let's see how that looks. Okay. Okay. Okay, cool. So I do need to give a position, a name object. So this is going to be self.ticker self.ticker. This is going to be a string of self.ticker, and we'll give the account. So self.parent account dot name. Upper here. So we'll give a name to this, which is a position, Apple, in the account name, which is individual taxable. And I'm going to say comma self dot underscore parent account dot institution. Right. And I'm going to dot title this as well. So add self.name to position. Nice. All right. I think I might call it here for tonight, you guys. We'll be streaming for 3 hours and 11 minutes. We started off with about 45 minutes of reading in Fluent Python. We read up to page 130 today. We're going to start off in reading Bomb, a Useful Gremlin on that header. So this chapter 4, is all about Unicode, encoding, decoding, bytecode, byte arrays, all that kind of jazz. So it's really good information. A lot of really new stuff I'm learning here, which is really nice. Talking about encoding and decoding different types of codec, encoders and decoders, all that kind of good stuff. So I'll be back tomorrow. I am off of work tomorrow, so I plan on doing a longer stream or potentially a 2-session stream. So I also plan on doing a session where I'm going to record, not a live session, but I'm going to sit down and record a bunch of my videos for the Python Crash Course Try It Yourself problem breakdowns. So I've already gone through and read that book already. That was my first book I really read into Introduction to Programming in Python. And I am going back through and completing the Try It Yourself problems, which are just very basic, very low level syntax problems, getting you familiar with Python. I'm going back through and solving those and doing kind of tutorial videos for you guys, the beginners out there that would find those helpful. So tomorrow I plan on recording about 5 or so videos regarding those Try It Yourself problems. And then I'm going to edit them and try to upload them. So my goal is over the next 2 days that I have off a break this Thursday and Friday, July 3rd and 4th, for us Americans that we have it off, I'm going to try to grind and push out a lot of those Try It Yourself videos, as well as upload a couple of the last remaining weeks for the Harvard CS50X watch along that we did. So I have a couple of backdated videos I need to upload for that as well. So be on the lookout for those tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow as well. I'll try to come in for a morning session, maybe around like 11 to like 2 or 3. And then I'll probably come in for a late night session, like, 7 to 10 or 11. So thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. We got 38 people watching tonight on YouTube, which is really crazy. This is one of the best streams we've had so far in terms of concurrent viewers. So if you guys are enjoying the content, I'll be back tomorrow. My name is Michael. I have a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry, and I've been teaching myself how to code from scratch, literally from scratch, teaching myself just raw coding and programming abilities, using online resources completely free. I haven't spent a single dollar in this journey besides just a few things I bought, like a couple of books, physical copies and stuff that I got to have. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me here. I'll be back tomorrow. Please join my Discord link down below and chat with me there if you have any questions regarding my learning journey or would like to participate in the project. We are building a Stalker, right? Stalker, not Stalker, but like Stalker as in stocks. It's a app that you can basically have a portfolio, link accounts within your portfolio, and then link positions under those accounts, and then have an overarching kind of net worth view of your entire portfolio all together across many different accounts, whether they be with Charles Schwab, Robinhood, Fidelity. You can link together, all these different account interfaces. I'm not actually like with Stripe yet. We don't have that, figured out, but just more of a manual approach right now to kind of get that overarching view of your entire net worth for the stocks, which is really cool. So I kind of wanted to do this because I personally have a couple of accounts across different brokerages. We have my 401k, Roth IRA, individual taxable account, all that jazz that I want to kind of, rather than having to go through and get data on each one of them and sum them together, I could just load them into this program and then just, have it all be put out for me. So pretty cool. Thank you guys so much for being here and hanging out with me tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. As I'll jump in, please join my Discord for announcements, and I'll see you guys then. Have a good evening. Bye guys. Thank you, PySpark. Thank you, Astro. Thank you, Anon. Thank you, Ripbro. Thank you, Silver Dude, Palash, Nikala, Shavam. You're awesome, dude. I'll get back to you on LinkedIn. Random Animator, you're awesome, dude. Minecraft, dude. Sylvia, thanks for coming in again. It's good to hear from you again. Logix for the win. Austin, 2Cast, Crubbles, Trevor C. You guys are awesome. Eduardo, Kojoy, Tim, Scorpion. Let's see who's on the Twitch right now. Norpie, Sinocron, Thick Engineer. You guys are awesome. All right, see you guys tomorrow.